Hey everybody, I just wanted to chime in and just say that this is going to be an upload that's a Q&A. It's going to go along with also uploading a vlog this week, but I had a couple people ask me some questions in the comments, and as I've mentioned before, I want this channel to be about interaction, creating a conversation, having discussions, getting and giving feedback. So I just wanted to make this Q&A real quick so that I didn't keep him hanging. His name's Marsh's Mellow. This is the main commenter that I'm thinking of. Initially, I said that I was going to have to upload a Q&A like a couple weeks from now because of my having filmed already some content for the next vlogs for the next couple weeks. But I don't want to keep him waiting that long, and I'm honestly really excited that he commented and had so many questions and that we have so much in common. He's a screen printer full-time, wants to start his own business. I think that's so awesome, and that's what I did, except I wasn't a printer at first. But I did work full-time as a printer, and it was phenomenally helpful for me. And I'm confident that if you believe in yourself and you really want to do that, you can do it. You will do it. No one can stop you but you. And you probably have a better foot getting started than I did when I got started, because I had never printed my whole life. Like, I literally had to learn everything from scratch. A lot of it has to do with just your networking abilities, your communication, your salesmanship, and all of these traits are things that can be learned and improved on. So don't be too discouraged if you don't feel like you're really that cut out for it right away. It takes time and practice and effort. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to cut and get into answering your questions, which I just recorded previously to recording this. So here goes nothing. Bye-bye. So, it might not really relate exactly to what kind of business you want to start, but I guarantee you that some of my experience in business in general can be of use and insightful to anybody out there who wants to start their own business. If you want any custom merchandise made, please holler at your boy. I make custom t-shirts, custom hoodies. I made this hoodie. Just send it, bro. Also, by the way, if you want a Just Send It hoodie, they're super freaking comfortable. And it's winter. They're very warm. You gotta stay warm. So if you want to Just Send It hoodie, I'm selling them for $20 a pop. I'm also giving one of these away. So if you want one for free, just leave a comment saying that you subscribed. You also have to actually subscribe, and then I'm gonna pick from a hat. Okay, I always mess this up when I try to talk to the camera. Just comment saying you subscribed. I'm gonna pick from a hat all the people who did subscribe and commented saying that, and then at the end of the next month, I will ship it out to you. It'll be a Christmas present from Kev for free. Also, by the way, I had a comment from username Marsh is Mellow. That's an awesome username, by the way. He was just asking about if I could be more specific about how I got started with screen printing and the parts of the processes that he's not familiar with, because he's a screen printer and he does that full time, which is awesome. I used to do that full time as well at a place called Wear Magic, which is now Hit Promotions, which is a enormous company based out of Florida that acquired Wear Magic. And Wear Magic was already a huge company. They did when I was working there, we had a company meeting and they showed us some of their numbers. They did over $25 million a year in sales with companies like Samsung, US Bank, Progressive Auto Insurance. And I was just there the other day to apply for an embroidery job, and they were doing stuff for Apple and all these different just monstrous companies. So it's pretty cool to be around that, and to have had experience working there helped me in my business a lot. So it was actually, that was part of the reason I went there to work, was really as a mole, a spy. I just wanted to get the experience and get out. Ah, ha, 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 suckers. Just kidding, but I mean, in a way, that's true. So, I mean, anyway, Marsh is Mellow. I would love to entertain your questions about business, and I would love for you to start your own screen printing business. And you said that you don't have the experience in like artwork and screen preparation and stuff like that. that's fine. For one thing, you don't need any experience in artwork because you can just outsource it. Anything artwork related, whether you need color separations or if you need vectorization, or if you want to get into embroidery and you need digitization, all of that can be done for, I've seen it advertised for anywhere between $25 to $8. Sometimes maybe even $5 if you're really lucky or good at bargaining. But there are companies out there like ignitiondrawing.com. It used to be called 24-hour artwork. And I use them, but they're a little more expensive. I got my prices down by a couple other people. There's NKEMB, which stands for embroidery, and then there's SBS Digit. I'll put all those websites down in the link, or I'll put the links to those websites in the bio below. I use SBS Digit the most right now, but I've used all three of them and they all are good. They, like NKEMB, even though it says EMB for embroidery, they also do vectorization and color separations, and so does SBS Digit. Digit stands for Digitize, which is an embroidery thing as well, but you can use them for anything that's artwork related. So I don't actually even make my color separations. I'm not really that well versed in Adobe Illustrator to even do that. I am positive that I could learn to do it, but it's actually, I think, more cost effective for me to send it out to them because I get it done for cheap enough to where it's not, you know, it's more worthwhile for me to just send it to them than to do it myself. It frees me up to do more things. I just say, hey, I have this artwork from a customer. Could you vectorize it and color separate it? I need a white underbase, a red top, a black outline, whatever the art calls for. Beyond that, there are mesh counts so once you get your artwork done, there are mesh counts with screens. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Mr. Marsh is mellow, but mesh counts are very important. You might already know this as far as like they hold different amounts of detail. So like a higher mesh count holds higher amounts of detail. I'm gonna crack some eggs real quick, so hold on. So back to Mr. Marsh's Mellow's questions. So you want to use the right mesh count for your artwork once you get colors separated. If it's like a thick one color design, you can always go with a low mesh count like a 110 or a 140 or even a 156 to 160. I've used higher mesh counts than that, but it's always easier to pass the ink through a low mesh count screen than it is a high mesh count screen. So you really just want to try to make things as easy for you as possible. If you have something with a lot of detail, you can use a higher mesh on the base and double print it or just single print it. But if you want to have like that thicker base to make the colors on top of it more opaque, then you probably want to use as high or as low of a mesh count as you can. Sorry for stumbling over my words there. And so anyway, if you have like a really high amount of detail, you would want to use a higher mesh count like a 305 or a 230 or a 280. I'm actually in the process of upping my screen game. I'm going to get better screens so that I can be more well equipped for doing artwork that is in need of, you know, a wider variety of mesh counts, because right now I have a decent amount of 110s, I have a couple 156s, maybe like 230 or 2, I don't know, I forget, but then I have like some 305s, so I have a pretty good variety, but a lot of them are wooden as well. And so like wooden screens, I don't really like wooden screens that much. They've done me well for like 3 years, which is great, but it just got to a point where it's like they start warping because I clean them. When I wash them out and reclaim them, I have this thing called a dip tank. And a dip tank is something that you buy this chemical solution, you mix it like 1/10 of solution with 9/10 water. You fill up the dip tank and then you just let screens sit in there for like 5 minutes after you're done using them and done printing with them, and it dissolves the emulsion and the ink right off it. So when you take the pressure washer, you just spray it and it cleans it like butter. And then you want to degrease it after that before you recoat it in emulsion after it dries. So like you spray it out the dip tank to get the emulsion and the ink off, And then you're taking a degreaser and a dehazer. Some people do both separately, but they make different solutions that you can do it. It's like a 2-in-1, like a conditioner and a shampoo. So like there's this thing called the pink stuff. That's actually what it's called. It says on the bucket, the pink stuff. And it's sold at Nazdar. You can buy screens at Nazdar. You can buy adhesives. You can buy ink cards, squeegees, the pink stuff. I highly recommend using Nazdar. They're a great company. They're also local to me, which is partially why I prefer them, but they're a very well-known company, and they do a lot of business in the screen printing world. They also sell automatic presses, direct-to-garment machines. They sell everything. So if you're looking to get into starting your own business, you'll definitely want to get started with a manual press. You had asked me in your comment, sorry, I'm just like flipping bacon right now. You asked me in your comment how I got started, like where did I get my equipment. So it was about 3 years ago. I think it was 2014. I was living with a roommate at the time who he and his girlfriend knew that I wanted to start a clothing line and start my own business and print for my band or my music. So one day, like, I was hanging out. He was on the computer, my laptop, I think. And he's like, dude, check it out. I don't remember if it was eBay or Amazon Marketplace or something, but like he was just kind of searching around. I didn't even know what a screen printing press looked like. I was just like, I want to make shirts. And I actually, like, previously to that, I had bought a single station press off of Ryonet. Ryonet's a great company to get started with. They have insanely excellent customer service, and they have helped me phenomenally in starting my business, because when I was getting started, I literally didn't know how to do anything. And I would call them and ask, hey, I'm trying to get artwork prepped. How do I do this? Oh, well, you need a printer. Oh, you need films. You need to get your artwork at 100% black. You need a rip software so you can do halftones. There's so much to it, but it's as simple as like going at your own pace and not getting too ahead of yourself, and asking the right questions as they present themselves to the right people. So like whenever I had was like coming to a bridge that I needed to cross, but I didn't know how to get across it, I would call up Ryonet, and Ryonet was an awesome company. I even had the pleasure of talking on the phone with the owner of the whole company, because he answered one of the phone calls one time and I recognized him from YouTube videos, his voice. And he spoke to me for like hours. Like, the owner of the company gave me hours of his time just to talk and educate me. And I've actually met him in person a few times at the NBM show, which is a trade show where like I highly recommend going to it. By the way, I don't know where you're from. It's held in Indianapolis and a couple other cities around the country, but they sell anything you can imagine in the decoration industry there. You can get automatic presses, conveyor dryers, heat flash dryers, embroidery machines, vinyl printers, cutters, inks, washout booths, squeegees. Like, everything is sold there. You can get it, like, floor models for discounts. Everybody's there competing. It's a trade show, so they'll have booths from different companies. Great place to get informed. They also have seminars and workshops throughout the whole weekend, and they're all geared towards different areas of the industry. So you can go online. Excuse me. You can go online and look up the show, get your tickets. It's free to go. You just have to get a hotel if you're not local. But and then when you sign up to go, there's a list of all the different workshops throughout the weekend, and you can pick and choose which ones are appropriate for you. I've gone 2 or 3 times. I highly recommend it. I think, this past year was my 3rd time going. It's awesome every time. I won some free ink one time from the owner of Ryonet at one of their workshops for he did a raffle or a draw, and I won like hundreds of dollars worth of pigments for creating Pantone water-based inks. So that was pretty cool. But I've also bought some stuff there, and just learned a ton there. Like, I would get super hyped and just like walk from booth to booth and ask him a million questions and get pricing and occasionally buy things. And so anyway, sorry for that tangent, but I just kind of am rolling with it. So in addition to that, I bought that press in California, and I thought, okay, now I have everything I need to make t-shirts. Little did I know I had nothing I needed to make t-shirts. So I came home, I told my friend, his girlfriend actually worked as a screen printer at this local company. She's like, yo, you can talk to the owner of my company, my boss. He's a super nice guy. He'll be glad to help you out and like tell you how to get started and answer your questions. So I kind of was nervous, but I reached out to him, and he was very friendly. His name's Josh. His company's R&R Clothing and National Screen Printing. He's a super nice dude, and if it weren't for him, you know, like maybe I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So I definitely like to pay credit where it's due, and I think I still would have made it, but like people help you along the way, and you have to be grateful for that. So anyway, sorry for preaching. So they found me on eBay or Amazon. Somebody was selling their shop. Like, there's this dude, his name's Rico Lindsay, who I should be connecting with soon, actually. He has like 100,000 followers or something on Instagram, and he's killing it, and he has a clothing line. He used to do screen printing for all these different companies, just like what I'm doing, and he at the same time had his brand, and he was pushing his brand. And when they found him on eBay or Amazon, he was selling all his stuff. So he was basically selling an entire shop that he was operating in North Carolina for an insanely good price. I was like, no way. I looked up everything that he was selling and including in his listing, and it was like too good to be true. So I was like, I don't know, man. Like it cost, I believe the entire listing was priced at $3,500. And I didn't have that much money left in the bank, but I had enough to afford that. And I wasn't making a lot where I was currently working, but I knew this was something that I wanted to do. So I thought about it, and I thought about it for not super long because I didn't want somebody else to get the listing. But, you know, pretty quickly I came to a decision that I was just going to take a leap of faith and go for it. So we got in contact with Rico, and before putting a bid on it, I think I bid on it so that I could reserve it and nobody else could, and like it would get closed. But I asked him, like, yeah, before we go through with this, I want to see everything working. So he, like FaceTimed me and showed me the equipment in action, and had some people printing and showing me that the flash worked and everything, and the exposure unit. And I was like, all right, I mean, it seems legit. So what do we have to do for shipping? And he like helped me out with figuring out how to ship it here. And I don't remember what the final total cost was, but I believe it was between $3,500 and $5,000. And so I printed with that for a while, and I needed a lot of help learning how to do these things. So I relied heavily on companies like Ryonet to teach me how to do all the different parts of the processes, from artwork preparation to getting vendors, to printing, to delivery, to getting customers. And it took me a long time, like thinking of pricing. I could go on, and I'm happy to answer these questions for you, but first I'm going to eat breakfast. But I will say that, like, in order to get vendors, you need to get your LLC and a vendor's license. So once you have your LLC, you basically have a vendor's license. It's basically just like you being able to be like, hey, look, here's my my license. I'm an actual business. Because you can't really set up vendor accounts with different companies until you get your LLC. So like there are different vendors out there like T-Shirt City, Sanmar, S Activewear, Bodek and Rhodes, Alpha Broder, Next Level Apparel. All these different vendors, they sell all these garments, and you can't even really buy from them unless you set up an account with them, but you can't set up an account with them unless you set up your LLC first. So you want to go to like your state secretary online. You could just call the Business Gateway office and say, hey, I want to get a vendor's license. How can I do that? Can you help me? Or you can be more direct and say, hey, I want to get my LLC set up. And then you can call any of these vendors and be like, hey, I have my LLC. Am I able to set up an account with you? I think that's all I need, right? Because that's it. And they'll help you. So you just have to kind of like ask people to help you, and they will usually if they can. So and then beyond that, what else is there? Oh, pricing. So pricing is important, and it's tricky. You want to kind of know what your pricing should be at. I've experimented with it a lot, and I've come up with different promotions and just try to be competitive. When you're getting started, you want to be competitive. Like you haven't been around forever. Nobody knows who you are. You don't have the reputation. They're not really sure about your quality. Oh man, I can go on about this forever. Like I might have to make like a part 2 video on this about like how I got business and stuff, because I have so many stories I could tell you of like finding businesses locally on Instagram and calling them up and offering to print like a shirt for them for like $1 a piece just to get my foot in the door, or like finding forums online for local bands, and they had a directory from A to Z where I would email every single band from A to Z. There were hundreds. I would just sit there for hours and send one Facebook message to each band at a time, and I would get leads and jobs from that. And then there's the yellow pages, the pink pages. You can call any business in there, just cold call. There's email marketing. You can do door to door, which I've done. I've done all of these things. And excuse me. And then of course there's like word of mouth. Once you start getting going, it just snowballs. Like right now, I don't even look for work. Like people are constantly calling me. I just had a call last night from a friend of mine who wants me to do some hats for his band. Like it keeps happening that way to where like I'm a one-man operation. If I had somebody who was able to print and deliver and do all the production, and I just focused on sales, like our sales would go through the roof. Like because right now I'm literally just like keeping up with work as it comes in, and I'm not fully focused on just like doing that. But if I did, oh my goodness. So anyway, there's a lot of ways to get pricing. One way to figure out what your pricing is figure out what your cost is. I honestly didn't even totally bother with that. You know, it's like, what do you want to get paid? How much do you want to do for setup? Something that I did is like, I looked up a bunch of different screen printing companies around me and around the country to see what pricing was, to see if I could find like a common denominator, like what is the average, and then undercut the average ever so slightly, but you know, like low enough to where I'm happy if that's what somebody pays. Like figure out what you're paying for the garments. Generally like a 30% to 50% markup on a garment is a pretty fair markup. Printing can be as much as like $3 to $5 a garment for a color, and then you can do quantities of like, you know, 24, 48, 72, 144, 288. That's where your price drops come in. And beyond that, you know, for each price drop, you want to lower the cost. So I don't actually really lower the cost of the markup on the garment so much as I usually give people my lowest margin, which is a 30% markup. I in the past have experimented with like the lowest quantity gets a 50% markup, then it goes to 45, then 40, then 35, and 30, and I've done it by 2.5% intervals as well. But typically lately, just because I'm trying to be like the go-to guy and grow my business and get as many customers as possible, I've just been giving everybody a 30% markup on the garment, because that is like, to me, like the most fair thing to do. And I've had a lot of customers tell me like, your prices are awesome, like we're paying half of what we used to pay for our old printer. So it's working. And I do like a free first setup. I've seen people charge anywhere from like $20 to like $45 per screen for a setup. I charge a free first setup, and then usually like $10 a screen for each additional color after that, just for setting up the frames. Sometimes I'll do 20, but it all comes down to you too. Like you dictate your pricing. So like if you're charging too cheap for a while and you're not happy with it, you can raise your pricing. Like there's nothing against you doing that. Like it's your business and you control the pricing, and you know what your margins are and what you need to make to be happy, and what your customers are willing to pay. So, you know, over time it's a lot of trial and error, and you just figure it out after, you know, experimenting with, you know, what works and what doesn't for long enough. And you can do promotions. Like I do a lot of 10% off promotions, which people always appreciate. If you have loyal returning customers, you can hook them up by giving them, you know, more promotions more often, or bigger discounts and stuff like that. So I hope that answers some of your questions. Anyway, I bought that press, and I ended up selling that manual head, the manual press. There's a 6-color 6-station but it was really hard for me to line up multicolored jobs because it didn't have micro registration and it wasn't really a great press. So I ended up selling that to a local printing company, which is now out of business actually. But and I bought a Vastex 4-color 4-station V2000 is the model number. It's an awesome press. I think it was like $3,500 by itself. You can upgrade it to like 6-color or I think 8-color. But yeah, so I would highly recommend the Vastex. I love it. M&R is a good company that makes manual presses. Ryonet makes manual presses. There are a lot out there that are good presses. I like Vastex a lot. So that's what I got. You just need like a flash, a small conveyor dryer, and a washout booth. They're not that expensive if you can save up, long enough or take out a loan or something. It pays off, dude. Like, it's totally worth it. I'm so glad I started this business. It's changed my life. But I gotta eat breakfast and pick Corey up, so I'm gonna get off of this vlog. I hope that answers your questions. Please comment back with more questions. I'm gonna do a Q&A part 2 once I get more questions rolling in. Somebody else in a previous vlog had also asked what my embroidery machine was, what brand. It's a Tajima, best in the whole world. They're like the most reputable, well-known, most used embroidery brand, Tajima, keeping it real. And my vlog camera is an A7S II. It's a Sony. I use the 24 to 200 millimeter lens. It's a 3.5 to I think 5.6 aperture. And I have a dual battery grip and a Rode VideoMic Pro. I also have a bachelor's degree in film, by the way, so that's actually really like my background. But anyway, and then I have the Joby Gorilla Pod for the little tripod thing. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. This has been the first Q&A coming at you live from Kevin Hackett's house. I am Kevin Hackett. You're watching the Q&A, but please tune in to the Startup Life. Also, please hit the subscribe and like buttons. I can use the love. I appreciate it so much. Please help me grow this business. Without you guys, I can't get the growth that I so desire. So I'm trying to start a brand. I'm trying to grow my company, get an automatic, get a 6-head embroidery machine, move out of the basement, get a warehouse. And with your guys' help, I know we can make that happen. You can be part of my brand. You can be part of the movement, and you can be part of the company, basically like a partner. So I'll be sending out some of these hoodies. If you want to just send a hoodie, email me. If you want any custom work done, email me. I can get back to you with the quote and we can make that happen. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is my first Q&A. I hope you guys liked it. Please leave comments, questions, suggestions, advice, whatever. I'll do another one in the future. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Be productive. Do work, son. I also just want to add to what I was talking about, how I used to call Ryonet and stuff like that all the time, and how I mentioned Nazdar. You can call all of these companies and ask them for questions, and their company mission, like their mission statement for their company, is to help people like you and me succeed. So like, it is literally their job and their goal to educate people like you and I so that we create successful businesses, because without me and you and people like us, sorry, without people who want to start their own businesses, they wouldn't be in business, because those are their customers. So it's their job to educate their customers, just the way like I educate my customers on what kind of shirts they should get, or what process of decoration is appropriate for the style of decoration that they want and that they have in mind. So call Ryonet, call Nazdar, call me, please, like, utilize your resources. I am your resource, Nazdar is your resource, Ryonet's your resource. Buy this book, Made to Make It, a guide to business success in screen printing. It's by Ryonet, the founder of, it's by Ryan Moore, the founder of Ryonet. Super nice guy. He actually gave me this book for free, signed it, because we're like this, just kidding, but like, he's super cool. We're friends on Facebook. I've met him like 2 or 3 times. Very friendly guy. And like, it's his company. So like, when a guy is a nice, hardworking, pleasant person like that, ethical like that, the company's gonna follow suit. Like, it starts at the top. So And he's actually starting a business now where they're actually creating garments, which is amazing. They have like started developing a connection in like Haiti or something where they're actually starting a new clothing company. Ah, I'm getting attacked by a cat. All right, he wants to go outside. Anyway, I gotta go pick up Corey. This will be added to the Q&A. I'm being attacked by this cat. All right, hope that helps. For real though, utilize me as a resource too. Like I know Ryonet's out there and Nazdar's out there and all these different companies. They will help you, so will I. I want to. That's the whole point of this YouTube channel. So holler at your boy.